like the military man. He had an ugly purple scar running up his chin. It cut through the corner of his lips and distorted the corner of his mouth. Ma Forster told her he'd got the scar while fighting the black heathens on the Indian subcontinent. But it wasn't the disfiguring scar Ginny disliked about him. It was his nature. He had what her mother called an edge to him. When he spoke, he used a mocking tone and always sounded irritated. He also had close-set, cold, dark eyes, which followed her around the room and down the stairs in a way that made her skin crawl. She hoped he was kind to Mrs. Delamere, but she doubted it. She suspected he had much to do with the poor lady's unhappiness. Ginny's eyes lingered on the rainbow of silk ribbons fanned out in the window of the haberdasher's shop opposite. A bubble of excitement rose in her when she suddenly remembered she'd just enough money left to treat herself to a new hair ribbon. She was proud of the glossy brown curls that cascaded down her back when her hair was loose. She loved tossing her head to make them ripple in the sunlight. Wherever she went, she attracted admiring glances. When she tied it back with a red ribbon, she knew she was as smart as any lady from Mayfair. Her older sisters, especially Betsy, teased her about her vanity, but she didn't care. She liked pretty things, pretty silk ribbons, pretty hair. Her glance fell on the silver snuff-box left by Captain Delamere on the window-sill. This was a pretty thing. She picked it up, surprised at its weight. It felt old and valuable and smelled faintly of the nutty tobacco inside. She fingered the delicate diamond pattern etched in glittering silver around its curved sides and admired the deep blue enamel lid. It was painted with the Delamere family crest. She traced the outline of the rampant stags and the fortified house or castle in the background with the tip of her finger, and wondered if this was a picture of their home back in Cambridgeshire. "You can put aside any notion of stealing that, you little bitch." Ginny spun round in shock and dropped her feather duster. Its cane handle clattered on the floorboards. Captain Delamere's large muscular figure in his scarlet and gold-braided uniform filled the doorway. He carried his high-plumed regimental hat beneath his arm and gripped a walking cane in his other huge, hairy hand. His dark eyes glowered with anger and something else, something unfathomable. "I weren't going to steal it, sir," she stammered. "I were just dusting it." "So says every thieving whore from here to Newgate. Damn it, wench, you need teaching a lesson." He slammed the door shut behind him, hurled his hat to one side, and stomped across the room towards her. Confused, Ginny shrieked and cowered, her hands fluttering over her mouth. "Please don't beat me, sir." He grabbed her arm and slapped her hard across her face, cutting off the scream welling inside her. "Say a word and I'll be back with the constable." His breath was sour with tobacco. Stunned into silence and paralyzed with fear, she stared up into his ravaged face and the cold black pools of his eyes. He licked his tattered lips in anticipation, and the loose flesh of his mouth quivered. Suddenly he pulled the red ribbon in her hair loose and yanked it out. "I'll take that," he said with a malicious grin. She stifled the squeal that rose in her throat as her hair tumbled around her shoulders. The next second he yanked at her bodice, ripping the flimsy material away, and mauled her tender little breasts. She gave a strangled yelp. "No screaming!" He squeezed harder, then dragged her towards the bed. Tears of pain and shame sprang to her eyes as she closed them tight, desperately trying to pretend this wasn't happening, that she was somewhere else, some place safe, anywhere except on her back on the bed with her skirts hiked up around her narrow hips, the heavy weight of this foul, ugly man on top of her, and his sweat dripping down onto her face. She turned her head, opened her eyes, and fixed her watery gaze on the oblong of sunlight pouring into the room through the window. Out there was the street, with people laughing and chatting. Outside, the haberdasher's window displayed